In this video, we're going to talk about volunteer management. As a non-profit, you will require volunteers to execute tasks. To manage volunteers, you will make use of non-profit. To do that, you will first add volunteer skills and availability. Then you will add job and shift. And at the end, you will assign volunteers to shift. To do that, now let's jump onto non-profit. Over here, there is an app by name Volunteers. Let's click on that particular app. Let's take the very first step of creating a volunteer. We'll go to contacts, say new. Let's take, for example, we create a new volunteer by name Mahesh Asa, and we specify additional information about Mahesh, like he is active, status is active, he knew computer usage, he is available on weekdays, on afternoons. What we have done so far, we have created a volunteer record in our nonprofit. Now, imagine you are going to do an activity which is feeding needy people. For that, we'll now jump into Volunteer Wizard. We will say the activity name is Feed Homeless People. We'll mark it as active. Type, we will say other. Start date is, and the end date is same. And then we'll hit save. Over here, we'll also say that this particular has got one job and we are going to feed them at 3 different time zones. So what it does, we are going to have an activity or a campaign where we're going to feed homeless people. We're going to feed them on this particular date. We're going to feed them 3 times in a day. So that's why number of shifts is 3. Now we're going to hit save. Essentially what Nonprofit Cloud has done, it has created a job for us, and also now if I open that job, it has also created 3 shifts for us. Okay, now let's open one of these shifts. We'll say that duration of the shift, the first feeding activity starts at 8 a.m. and the duration is 2 hours. Similarly, we can go back to the job and we can go and edit the shift for the next one. Say the next one will now start at 11 a.m. after a break, and this will also be for 2 hours. Let's see. So far we have created a campaign. Within that campaign we created a job, and within that job we created the shifts. Now the next part is to assign volunteers to this particular shifts. So I'll go and click on find volunteers. We'll say show me all the active volunteers. Say find. Now remember we just added Mahesh as one of the volunteer. Now we are going to assign Mahesh to our campaign. So we'll say assign Mahesh to this particular one. We'll say status as confirm. Say assign. So now Mahesh has been assigned to one of the shifts. Now if I want to look at it on a calendar, we can go to shift calendar and we can have a look over here for this particular campaign too. Okay, so let's go back to our jobs. Now to reiterate what we did, we can also look at the volunteer roster. where we can find out that Mahesh is assigned to this particular shift. If we have more people, we can assign more people to this shift also. Let's go back to the presentation. We added volunteer skill and availability, then we added jobs and shift, and then we assigned volunteers to shift. So let's go back over here, volunteer jobs. You can also mass email volunteers if there is any communication that needs to be sent it to them. If we go back to feed homeless people, and whenever this campaign gets completed, you can go and edit this. Let's go and edit this campaign. And you can mark it as completed whenever the event is completed. And you would have seen there are roll of fields which are coming over here. Number of volunteers, volunteer jobs, volunteer shifts. Hit save. Okay. Now let's go back to the jobs. From jobs, we'll go to a shift. In case we want, after the event has occurred, if we want to reconcile the hours spent by each of them, we can go back and say, yes, Mahesh has worked 2 hours on this particular day. So this way, we will mark it as completed. So this way we can reconcile the hours worked by volunteers too for this particular shift. Thank you.